Relationships are so important to all of us, and we want more love in our lives and more closeness and more friendships, yet some of our beliefs about relationships aren't true. They're actually myths of relationship, and we want to bust those myths. In other episodes, we're looking at different myths, but in this one, I want to talk about the myth that so many of us have. If I only had a relationship, then I'd be happy. And how many of us have thought that? I did. I thought that that's what was going to make me happy. And I got into a relationship at one point in time in my life with someone who was not good for me. I didn't realize that at the time because I thought that having a relationship would make me happier. So that should solve my life. That should make everything all better than that I would live happily ever after if I could just have love in my life. But it's really not true because of this. The research shows that relationships don't make you happy. They do for a short period of time. They actually boost your happiness in the beginning of a relationship, but it doesn't last. So what happens is that for a moment, in the beginning of a relationship, you are happier. You're consumed by it. You actually feel more fulfilled. You have a sense of well-being. It boosts it for up to a year and a half, or maybe even 2 years if you stay in the relationship that long. You can actually, or if someone gets married, you might be a little happier for a year and a half to 2 years. But after that, your degree of happiness returns to the level of happiness you had before you ever met that person. So relationships can't make you happy because the research shows that each of us has a happiness set point. We have a certain degree of happiness that we always go back to, unless we really consciously work to change that. So in the beginning of the relationship, we go, oh, I'm so much happier. But then after a year and a half, 2 years, whoops, it goes right back down to where our happiness was before we ever got in a relationship. So that's really important for us to understand, because if we think that relationships are supposed to make us happy and we stay in one for a year or two and then all of a sudden we're not happy, we think the relationship is wrong, or we've made a mistake, or we picked the wrong person, or we've done something wrong, or we have to start over again, or there's a big problem. No, could be a problem, but first look at, did you just return to the level of happiness that you had before the relationship? And now if that happens, you may, if you don't realize this, you might blame your partner or blame your friend that you're not happy anymore. You think there's something wrong with the relationship. There might be, but the first thing to look at is like, wow, what's going on inside of me? Because it's inevitable that conflict will come up in a relationship. And if we think that a relationship's just supposed to make us happy, when that tension comes up, we think there's a problem. No, that's just normal. It's really developing the skill to work with that. So be aware of that fantasy of like, oh, if I'm just in a relationship, everything would be okay, then I'd be happy. Because what happens, if we really look at this, to be really aware of that, it's not another person's job to make you happy. One of our rules of engagement is that each of us is 100% responsible for our own satisfaction and our happiness. That's not someone else's job. Someone can add to your life, but it really is your job to find out what is it that satisfies you? What is it that you yearn for deep in your heart? What is it that makes you happy? And you take charge of your happiness and not think that it's somebody else's job, because it's not. No matter what they did, they can't change that set point. You might be able to, but they can't. And to really look at the real purpose of relationship isn't to make us happy. I certainly want you to be happy. I want you to have moments that are satisfying and fulfilling for you. But the true purpose of relationships is to learn and grow, to really become someone even more developed throughout your relationship, to become your best, not to be happy. So start learning a little bit more about what it is that really does make you happy, what does satisfy you, what does fulfill you, and stop thinking it's that person you're going to get in a relationship with. That's not their job. They can add to your life, but it's not their job to make you happy. That's your job, to find out what it is it really takes for you to be deeply satisfied, happy, and fulfilled. You don't need a relationship to be happy. You don't need a relationship to be satisfied. The only relationship you need is with yourself. That you can do to be fulfilled. And in fact, you're more likely to attract people that will be better for you if you do work on your own sense of fulfillment first. And then you're more fulfilled and more full to meet someone that can add to your life Don't think that they need to compensate for your life. You are sufficient, just yourself. You can have the highest degree of satisfaction possible just from your own life. And then if you want to meet someone to add to that, great. Not their job to make you happy. Relationship purpose is to learn and grow and to become. And that we can all do.